Welcome back to our series for seniors on becoming AI allies to your friends and family. Today, I'm joined by Crystal Tristan, the dynamic young CEO of OneHaven. Now, Krystal and her team are doing vital work in digital protection, particularly for seniors who are often targeted by increasingly sophisticated AI scams. Now, in our conversation, we're going to pull back the curtain on how these invisible threats work, from sophisticated email spoofing to really heart wrenching romance scams. Krystal has a great background in tech, and she's dedicated to building tools that act as digital safety nets for families. So, we're going to discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of AI, and most importantly, how we can stay one step ahead of the bad actors. Right now, I'm going to invite you to join our phone conversation for ongoing learning on the go. I did look at your LinkedIn profile, and I have to tell you, the work that you are doing now with OneHaven is so needed, and especially in the hands of somebody like yourself with this great background and the team that you've assembled. So, of course, I focus on seniors. So, tell me a little bit about, any experience that you had, and I know you have a family and you have a very busy life. So, tell me a little bit about what was it that really put the light bulb in your head that this was time to really create OneHaven?
OneHaven was built out of necessity. I'm a mom of three. I have aging parents and grandparents. My partner's parents have a little bit of a head start aging as well. And at the beginning of this year, as I was trying to develop what I thought was just going to be a super gnarly AI-powered parental control app, as I was kind of interviewing folks, Mike, what I found was they were like, man, I need this for my mom, or I need this for my grandmother, or, my partner's parents were just scammed. And so I started to kind of think through if I were to develop this in a way that could protect kids, but also could protect adults because they're just as vulnerable, maybe more so in a lot of ways. And so we started kind of pivoting and adding some scope that was going to allow for things like AI-powered listening into conversations only when necessary, things like WhatsApp groups where maybe grandma has fallen victim to someone in a romance scam. And so OneHaven will pick up certain words, certain keywords that are going to make it quite clear to us that she's engaged in a relationship that is likely not what she thinks it is. We also do some financial monitoring where we will tie to their bank accounts and look out for transactions that are likely not them. Sometimes they start small, sometimes they're just really large. And some of that is reactionary, but if you do it in a proactive way and keep monitor, then you can kind of stop it right as it happens. We're also doing obviously some of the bare basic things like credit monitoring, web monitoring. I'm not going to let you click a bad link if grandma does happen to get a hold of an email that we didn't block properly. We're just not going to let you click that bad PayPal link and put in your information. And we just also have some things like the credit monitoring also allows for deep web monitoring and dark web monitoring. We'll pull your information and let you know if we found you or your loved one's information on the dark web and how to get rid of it so that you get less spammy and prank calls. And it came out of need. As I was having these conversations, everyone just kept saying the same thing, that this was happening to them or people around them, honestly in every generation. But our seniors, for whatever reason, seem to be ignored the most, maybe right second to kids because they have a financial aspect to their fraud and scams that kids don't necessarily have yet. Right as I was starting to kind of build out this scope, a good friend of mine called and knew that I was doing this, and she said, you've got to take care of the parents and our aging loved ones, that her mother had just given $300,000 away to someone that she still thinks to this day, Mike, is the love of her life. And so not only did she lose most of her retirement to someone she thought she was helping that she cared for, she also is now grieving a relationship that never existed. And I just thought, it's so disgusting and that we can do better.
I just have to sit back and take a breath over that story. I mean, that is so stunningly sad. Just so you know, the primary difference between you and me is I am a senior storyteller. I love the English language. That's why I'm so thrilled to work with AI from at my level, because I talk to it like a collaborator, like a friend, and I don't do prompt engineering. I'm a pretty good communicator. So I have some amazing relationships with it. and I use multiple bots and I get multiple inputs. I used to have a very successful and pretty large marketing agency, and now I don't have that. I'm in retirement and I have my kind of board of directors, my AI board of directors, if you will, and I chat with them every morning. But to talk to somebody like you that has the deep dive into actual digital protection and keeping people safe digitally who don't need to know it, what you
Yes.
do. They don't need to know all the technology. As I say, we don't use big words, we use big print, for the
That's right.
senior market. So we try to keep it really simple. And I know that's probably not easy when it comes to, digital protection devices. But talk a little bit about, and maybe you can talk to the children of seniors and many times they're seniors themselves, even
Yes.
the higher end of Gen Xers. I'm a baby boomer, but are seniors as well. So we have to have discussions about this with all of the stakeholders in the era of AI, especially with our seniors who hold so much wisdom and they have been through so much and they tend to be so trusting. So, this is a very powerful conversation that we're having, and I'm really so happy to have you part of it. So thanks for being here. But let's talk a little bit about protection of everybody up and down the family tree.
Yeah. Yeah, that's almost, that's what's missing in the world, right? We have these parental control apps, we have cybersecurity and kind of for everyday individuals living their adult lives, we have employee-driven from these big enterprise protection apps. And then, what isn't in the market today that is absolutely coming with OneHaven is that senior level. But what I found is every generation needs this, Mike, whether it's scammy emails that you're getting, where they want to put in your credentials to Facebook or your PayPal credentials or your bank credentials, or you're getting that scammy FedEx link that is going to send you somewhere to put in a credit card because you need to pay to get your package and it's fraudulent, or deep fakes are coming more than we've seen today. If we want to talk about AI specific driven things, the emails used to be really easy to spot in a spam mailbox. The Amazon email was all garbled and you could tell, but now thanks to AI, unfortunately, you no longer can tell a scammy email from a good one. And so AI will be able to do that. Unfortunately, now people are also getting calls of every generation. They're getting calls from a number that pops up their local police department, maybe an Austin PD for my case. A friend told me last week she was scammed because, quote, Austin PD called and said that she owed money from a paid parking, an unpaid parking ticket, and it was fraudulent. And AI has the ability to put that fake number in there. And unfortunately, our telecom community companies aren't doing anything to fix that. So we'll block all those calls. We'll block all those emails. We'll block all those links. We'll keep an eye on your finances, keep an eye on your credit. There really is no other way. And let me stop real quick and not only just pick on AI, because I am a techie and have been since, I could hold the device. I love all things tech. And AI is an amazing tool that we are going to do amazing things with very soon. It's just unfortunately that if you give anything so powerful to bad actors, they're going to be able to use it, in nefarious ways. And so what I think is the only way to combat nefarious actors with AI is with good folks that have AI to combat it. And so, we're truly in that deep tech space to make sure that we're as technical as we need to be to protect against tomorrow's risks. And so that's what we're working on in a super techie way.
Yeah, well, in a non-techie way, a tip that I got from Gemini was to have a family password that was verbal. If you're called and, hey, Grandma, it's me, I'm in jail.
I need money. Yes,
I need
exactly.
money. Well, what's the family password? Well, I'm busy and I'm in jail and I can't remember it. Well, bye.
That's a great one.
That's a great one from Gemini. And then Instagram put out a thing, a blog post, that one of the new ways to tell authenticity is imperfection. That AI is becoming so perfect that perfect is becoming kind of the new boring. And there's going to be so much of it that, with seniors of all ages, because I like to communicate with younger seniors, boomers, and Gen Xers, and as well as their parents. So, in terms of what they're doing in their life, but I would think this is equally as important in your personal life as well as in your business. And it seems like it's almost like an insurance policy, a very inexpensive insurance policy.
Yeah, it's a way to keep you safe, not just physically, but mentally, financially, kind of all the ways that you need to be safe when you're operating a device that leads to the internet. Is there are predators out there, and they're after everyone. And so, if ever you're vulnerable, they're going to find a way. Just to speak to the inaccuracies of some of those, just keep an eye on that. As soon as AI knows that you're looking for authentic emails, and maybe they'll have spelling errors, it will start adding them.
Oh, yeah.
So while we're there today and everything is perfect, they're going to catch on, and those bad actors are going to say, hey, add a couple spelling errors so people don't think this is AI driven. So they're on to us, and you always have to be kind of one step ahead, but it makes it quite tricky when they're using the tools of tomorrow.
That's why I think local networking is so important to, try to do business whenever you can with people that either or other people that know, so that we can have some sort of a digital handshake with people who can actually connect us with people that can be trusted. I kind of feel a little bit like people like you and I have to be Paul Revere, telling
Yeah,
people, that the rising tide of AI is bringing the new waves of AI, and it's almost like an alien invasion. It's here if you like it or not.
that's right. No
And
putting
it's
your head in the sand.
exactly, or yeah,
Yeah.
if you face your challenges, you cut them in half. You turn your back on them, they double. So it really
Oh, I like that
is.
one.
Yeah, it really is time to face the facts, confront it. Seniors have a hard enough time confronting the fact that they're seniors. Okay,
That's
it
right.
kind of
They may
sneaks.
not know.
Exactly. It sneaks up on us, and before you know, it's like, whoa, how did I get so old? So, we have to confront that, and it's kind of rocked our foundation. And now with AI rocking our foundation even more, we
Yeah.
really have to turn to professional help, people who have been around the block and know what to look for and can be the gatekeepers that are needed to really keep the bad players out.
I think that's so right. And what I found is, there's always been a skepticism for reaching out for help or getting an app that helps you read your email to make sure it's not scam. For whatever reason, society has decided that we shouldn't need these things, that we should be capable of doing it ourselves. But I just would like to blow that away, that we are no longer capable, because we're not just talking about bad actors, we're talking about bad actors with AI. And we are not capable of siphoning every single risk that's thrown at us, because we're actually constantly under attack, whether we recognize it or not. And so a simple tool like OneHaven and some of your banking apps that help protect you, two-factor authentication, having a security word for your family, not just for your seniors, but for your kids as well. Some of those things are fundamental now. As much as we used to tell our kids not to go to a van that had candy, like this is the new things to look out for. And I hear a lot from people with aging parents, and for themselves for that matter, that they no longer even want to answer the phone. That they've instructed their parents not to even answer the phone because most likely it's a scam. And I thought, how sad is that we live in a world where we can travel to the moon and I can talk to someone across the planet, but we can't make sure that our parents feel safe to answer the phone. And so that is what I hope to give back, is just a gift of living life uninterrupted, where we can go back to answering the phone when our grandkids call, and, your parents can talk to the bank without thinking that, they're sending a fake wire, and all the authentication types that they need to maneuver around. And it's a lot, even for a techie that grew up in this space. And I get calls all day from top tech CEOs of the world saying how they were just scammed, and they're helping me make sure that OneHaven is going to protect against, that scam next time. And so it really is everywhere. It's ever prevalent. We shouldn't feel bad for needing to take an app or two to protect us, for these safe words, for having the conversations. I think your Paul Revere was right. I have conversations all day where I feel like that nagging, I won't say grandma, that nagging person, helicopter momming. My kids think I'm constantly driving them crazy with things that don't exist until I show them a stat, and then they're like, oh my gosh, it's terrible. And so yes, awareness is key. If you can just recognize that there are things that people are capable of with AI that you can't fathom, that you can't think through, but that you need help to understand and protect you against, you're all the better. And kind of staying up to date on what some of the risks are and some of the latest scams has been helpful for me, so that I can continue to code OneHaven to protect people against those things. But even just spreading awareness of the things happening to our kids in these gaming apps, that our parents and our aging loved ones are under attack from Facebook and from Meta, and that a lot of times they'll just call random numbers that have landlines, because unfortunately most of our aging population are the ones that still have these landlines, so they're susceptible to wanting a companion. You know, the statistics of our aging population and women sitting at home because they've become widows is so high. And then you couple that with a landline, they already know, 90% likelihood that they're going to reach a woman that's been widowed that's sitting at home alone. And so they develop a relationship and then eventually extort her in all the ways. So I think the more that we're aware, the more that we can kind of put up this guard against these things, and then a couple tools in place to make sure, when we're moving fast and we're not paying attention and we accidentally click a link, and if it's nefarious, it just gets blocked, so that we can just kind of keep on moving on.
Let me ask you a little bit about the various levels of senior life, because I, again, talked about some of the younger seniors, and there's a lot of people who are thinking about unretiring and starting a new business to enhance their incomes. Tell me a little bit about that in terms of starting a business and maybe needing security for some sort of a small business, and what you could do for a senior maybe wanting to start a business with OneHaven.
Yeah, I think starting a business has its own set of challenges. I think all of the scammers in the world recognize that these small businesses are trying to move fast, and they're nimble, and they don't always have all of the skill sets in mind. If you're not a finance person, you're going to look for someone to help you in that area. If you don't build websites, you're going to be looking for those things, and they know that, and they prey on those folks. So I think you definitely just want to look out for Better Business Bureau reviews and use referrals, right? Like the good old days when you called a friend and said, hey, have you built a website recently? Who did you use? And hey, who do you have as your CPA or wealth manager? Who helped you do your business docs and lawyers and things? Because there are a lot of scams out there for folks that are endeavoring in new businesses. So I think there's a lot of companies in place that are working towards keeping enterprise and small business safe. OneHaven really operates on the other side, that individual layer, because they do a good job at blocking things for their work emails and your business emails and all your business links and everything like that ecosystem. But what falls short that companies still haven't quite grasped that is, if I click a bad link in my personal Gmail on my personal device, and then I'm exposed and there's a hacker in my device, and then I start going through all of the business email, that hacker's in there. And for whatever reason, they're not protecting at the personal level. So that's what OneHaven does for people, for sure. But I think you just have to look out. I think you ask around, and you get help, and you get referrals and references from people that that have done business with people that they know specifically, and that it went well, right? I think a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I had a chiropractor, and then later you're like, oh, I never went back to that guy. And you're like, why did you refer me to someone you never went back to? Asking all the right questions seems helpful.
Well, my mission is, and I'm literally having the time of my life, bar none. I've had a very, very exciting career with NBC in New York and years in the TV infomercial industry and all the different things I've done. And I've attracted every single thing that I wanted in my life. It's been a miraculous life. And now I feel obligated to God, really, to pay back and to share everything I've learned. And I think everybody wants to, share wisdom. I think it's important. Like I say, I try to turn baby boomers into AI bloomers and what they can do for their local community. You talked about getting referrals, and that's so vital. And what you can do for your local community to stay engaged. Well, you can't stay engaged with your community if the rug is being pulled out from under you in ways that you don't even have a clue. So if you can embrace AI in the most positive way, which is off the charts in terms of great things, but you've got to avoid the negative. We talk about the good, the bad, the ugly of AI. And right now, that's pretty much what we're talking about, is the ugly side of AI. But you can't benefit from the great things if one misstep is really not only taking you down, but it can take down your entire lineage, your family, and what you can leave, like the story you told earlier. It doesn't just affect the mom, it affects the daughter and everybody else in the entire family. So
100%.
We really have to encourage people, don't worry about it, take it seriously, but get professional help.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, stay aware, stay vigilant, and, if you can't validate the source, then likely it's not real, and just pay attention, unfortunately, and yeah, try to learn up on some of those really cool tools that AI affords us now, that we couldn't do before.
So tell me about the wait list and the state of the company right now, because I see join the wait list, get first access. So where are things? Are you in the launch phase? Where are you? And tell me a little bit about that and what people can do right now.
Yeah, so we're building OneHaven right now. The first wave, or our first release, is going to be mostly parental control and keeping your kids safe focused. Mostly selfishly, I have 3 kids at home that need it right away, so it was my very first inclination to do that right away for my 3 children. So we launch at the end of February with that release. Those things look like true parental controls that they can't be bypassed, that aren't a 4-digit numeric code like some of them, that truly operate the way that you intend for them to. App management, letting your kids have access to apps and not access to others that they should not have or you've decided they don't need. Location module, so tracking their location, letting you know if they didn't make it somewhere on time. OneHaven really focuses on giving you the alerts that you need, not bombarding you with alerts that you don't need. And so that's our first release. Quickly after that, let's call it March, if we're being aggressive, probably more like April, we'll launch the full-fledged OneHaven with all her amazing capacity, which will include email management, call management, messaging, keeping out a look on your finances as well as the credit bureaus to make sure that your information hasn't been stolen, call management, kind of all the things, protecting us from predators, however they may be attacking. And that'll come in March or April. So we're excited for these upcoming launches. So the wait list, you can join right now on onehaven.io. Go hit that button, join the wait list. I don't spam you. I'm emailing you maybe once a month, letting you know the features that are coming that we're super stoked about. And yeah, we're excited to launch here shortly.
Folks, I would advise you to really confront the future right now because you're going to forget. We're all inundated with information overload. Go right now to onehaven.io, hop on the wait list, and then you're covered. And then you're going to be updated come April when everything is really good to go. But you've got the ball rolling here. So this has been a great interview. Any final thoughts about the community and about seniors and making sure that everybody is staying current and really confronting the realities of AI and the new protections that are needed?
Yeah, thanks for that, Mike. I think, just giving yourself some grace, right? All of this is new, regardless what generation you're from. We're all tackling AI head on, and some of us learn more quickly than others. So give yourself a break. If it seems scary, it's scary to us too, but know that there are protections in place that can help. And, make yourself aware. You can do a Google search of, what are the top AI scams and what should I look out for on a daily basis, just so that you can stay aware. And it sounds like listening to Mike. Keep informed.
Exactly. Will you be putting out alerts about any potential scams that are?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna have an AI chat at the top that's just gonna let you know, depending on who you are. If you're subscribed to OneHaven protecting your children, we're tailoring it and customizing it based on your needs. So depending on who you are, we'll give you up-to-date information on the things to look out for as they come.
All right.
Thanks, Mike.
Well, I think it's pretty clear from my talk with Krystal that while AI brings incredible opportunities, we cannot afford to keep our heads in the sand about the risks. So as I said, if you face challenges, you can cut them in half. If you turn your back on them, they double. The best way to protect yourself and your family is to stay informed and use the professional tools that are available to all of us. Don't wait until a mistake happens. Take control of your digital safety right now. For more resources and to continue your ongoing learning on the go, please visit senioraifoundation.org. Let's stay vigilant and keep moving forward as AI allies. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Mike Hayes.